Hello students, welcome to your class of literature, English literature. Today we are going to study our short stories. This is our book, as all we know very well about that, Treasure Trove. In this book we are having 10 poems and 10 short. See students in the index, today which chapter we are going to study? This is chapter number 8, The Blue Bead, written by Nora Burke. So first of all students, we will come to know something about Nora Burke. Nora Burke, born 2nd August 1907, was a well-known novelist and non-fiction writer famous for her descriptions of life in India during the early 20th century. Her father, Redmond St. George Burke, was a forest officer in India, and her early childhood was spent traveling through the Indian forest, often on elephant back. The Indian jungle and her interactions with its wildlife inspired her autobiographical travel books, Jungle Child, 11 Leopards, and Midnight Forest. She also wrote a short story, Journey by Night. Nora Burke was also an enthusiastic travel writer, relating many of her early adventures in autobiographical travel books. She lived for many years at Thorncourt in Cockfield near Bury, said Edmund Shufflock. She died in 1976. Now, chapter 10, Blue Bead. The Blue Bead. Before explaining the part, first of all I want to tell you in short. The Blue Bead is a story about a young girl named Sibia who is very poor and wants something of value in her life. As the story progresses, she saves a woman from a crocodile and shortly after finds a blue bead. Bead, it is a decorative piece of a glass or a. Let's start the explanation of the chapter. The story The Blue Bead begins with a detailed description of the crocodile before shifting to Sibia, a 12 years old girl. First of all, we will come to know about bead. What is bead? Bead is this one. A blue color pearl, or we can say it is a part of glass or stone. It is used to decorate with the thread to wear in the form of necklace. The crocodile lived in a great Indian river. He was twice the length of a tall man. The crocodile rested in the glassy shallows. Glassy shallows means to say glassy resembling glass, and shallow a contained hole or area of water measures only a short distance from top to bottom. This is the part glassy shallows. Among logs and balance there on tiptoe on the rippled sand. Rippled sand, wavy sand. The crocodile blackish brown above and yellow white underlay, motionless. Motionless, meaning of motionless is which can't move. Not in still, stable, not in the form of motion. Able to wait forever till food came. He was a ferocious and formidable animal. Ferocious and formidable. Ferocious means to say violent, and formidable means to say powerful. He was a violent and powerful animal. His mouth was closed and fixed in that evil bony smile. Escaping the birds of prey. Prey means to say hunt, and the great carnivorous fishes that ate baby crocodiles. He had prospered, catching all the food he needed and storing it till putrid in holes in the bank. Putrid means to say a bad smell of dead plants and animals. Tepid water to live in and plenty of rotten food grew him to his great length. Tepid, it means to little warm, we can say only slightly warm water to live in and plenty of rotten food, yani sufficient food, grew him to his great length. The big crocodile fed mostly on fish, but also on deer and monkeys, which came to drink, perhaps a duck or two. And sometimes he went to the burning ghats and found the half-burnt bodies of Indian cast into the stream river. Beside him in the shoals as he lay waiting glimmered a blue gem. It was not a gem, though it was sand-worn glass that had been rolling about in the river for a long time. By chance it was perforated right through the neck of a bottle, perhaps a blue. In a village there lived a little girl in a mud house. She came out of her mud house after eating her last meal. Last meal means to say dinner. After that she will not take any meal. She was dressed in an earthen colored rag. Rag means tattered cloth. She was 12 years old girl and had great eyes and ebony hair. She was barefoot and born to toil. Toil means to say hard work. Means she was born to hard work as she was very poor. She was poor and had never owned anything but a rag. She had never owned even one anna. Anna means to say penny. She knew what finery was though. Yet she knew well about the finery. Finery means to say to decorate ourselves. It means to say ornaments. She had been with her parents and brothers all through the jungle to the little town at the railhead where there was a bazaar. She had visited the bazaar and liked several things in the bazaar. She had stood before the sweetmeat stall to gaze all the brilliant confections. She had stood before the cloth shop and liked satin with real silver thread. She had seen the tin trays and a sari which had got chips of looking glass embroidered in the border. She liked them. She had seen several other wonderful things of the world in the bazaar, but there was no end to the wonders of the bazaar. Sibia, the poor girl, was marked for work. During her childhood, she husked corn, gathered sticks, and put dung to dry, cooked food, and cut grass for fodder. Fodder means to say eatables for the animals. She was going with her mother and some other women to get paper grass for the cliffs above the river, to sell it to the agent who would dispatch it to the paper mills. The women followed the dusky track towards the river. On their way, they passed a Gujjar encampment of grass, huts where the nomadic grazers lived. Encampment means to say the person who move here and there in search of food, and somewhere they usually made camp to stay in. Sibia glanced at the Gujjar women as she went past. They wore trousers tight and wrinkled at the ankles, and in their ears large silver rings made out of melted rupees. The men and boys were out of camp just now with the herd or gone to the bazaar to sell produce. The Gujjar were Janglis as Sibia was too, born and bred in the forest. The woman reached the river and could hear it rushing along. They came out on the shore and made for the stepping stones. They had plenty to laugh and picker about. It means to say they were laughing too much. They shouted above the gush of river. Noise frightened crocodiles. The big crocodile did not move. As already it is told in the starting that usually it is lazy. And all the women crossed in safety to the other bank. Here they had to climb a still hillside to get at the grass. Down below they ran to the broad river. Great turtles lived there in that river. Crocodile too lived there. Sometimes they could be seen lying on the slabs of clay. Now it was time for the women to go back to see to their animals and the evening meal. The loaded woman set out to cross the river again. Sibia hung back to see the clay cups. The women crossed the river safely. Sibia came down alone on the stepping stones. She stepped on the first stone. When she was halfway over, means she completed halfway, she put her load down on a big boulder to rest. Boulder, a big rock usually find in the rivers or watering area. At the same moment, a Gujjar woman came down with two pitchers. Pitchers means to say where they store water to the water on the other side. In order to get the good water, she walked onto the stepping stone. She was within a yard of the crocodile when he lunged at her. The woman screamed, dropped both brass pots with a clatter on the boulder, and Sibia saw them bob away in the current. The Gujjar woman recoiled from the crocodile, but his jaws closed on her legs at the same moment as she slipped and fell on the bone-breaking stone. She clutched one of the timber logs to save herself. The log jammed between two boulders with the woman clinging to it and screaming, while the crocodile pulled on her leg, trying to carry her off into the depths of the pool. Blood spread everywhere. Sibia sprang from boulder to boulder. She came leaping like a rock god, and in one moment she was beside the shrieking woman. The woman who was attacked by the crocodile. The crocodile's eyes rolled on the Sibia. One slap of tail could kill her, because as we all know that crocodile tails the most important part of his body, which is the strongest part. He struck up shot the water 20 feet and fell like a silver chain. Sibia aimed at the reptile's eyes with all the force of her little body. She drove the hay fork at the eyes, and one prong went in. While its spear scratched past on the horny cheek, the crocodile reared up in convulsion and then disappeared. Sibia got her arms round the fainting woman and somehow dragged her from the water. She stopped her wounds with sand and bound them with a rag, and helped her home to the Gujjar encampment, where the man made a little to carry her to someone for treatment. Then Sibia went back for her grass and sickle and fork. She gathered all the things and set off home. On the way back, she met her mother. She was worried, as she thought something must have happened to her because Sibia was too late. But Sibia, bursting with her story, cried, "Something did. I found a blue bead for my necklace. Look." This was the story. I hope it is clear to all. As I told you already in last video also, that after understanding the chapter you will complete your workbook. So now it is your homework that you will complete your workbook. Thank you very much.